rate the customer service? You would really rate the customer service?
Welcome in, everybody. It's a daytime live today. I hope you all had a good weekend. Turns out the dragon's got a message. So we're going to look into that. The dragons wanted me to pull some cards before the live for myself, which was a very beautiful message. So we're going to look into it. Just having a little bit of a snack before I start. Waiting on the notifications so that way people can jump in the room. Chances are I'll be going live again later on for another message, but the dragon said they have a message, so again, I thought I'd jump on here and find out what they need to know. Find out what you need to know. Find out what the message is overall. I took some time out to ponder and to contemplate what questions and what wisdom we might need to be looking into today. And I'm kind of being pulled to pull some cards on the current state of the world as a collective. Rather than on a personal basis for each and every one of us. You can get that somewhere else, Maria. You don't ask dragons stupid karmic questions, okay? You don't waste your time asking the dragons to give you stupid answers to stupid questions. You need to love yourself. Self-love is important. Without self-love, you can't love anybody else. If you don't know what that feels like, if you don't know what that looks like, then you need to look within to find that information. And sure as hell not going to ask no dragons about your love relationship. Because they'll just sit there and laugh at you. So, just stating that point. Am I gonna really have to put a block on the chat? Because I'm not gonna ask these dumbass questions. Dragons of the north, south, east, and west, I call you here. Be here if you like. I call on you from the great ethers of the upper realms of mysticism and magic. I call you into my space to provide us with wisdom of the coming months, the coming years of our planet Earth. I ask of you to give us the information that we need to bring us into our highest timelines, to bring us to our purpose, and to bring us into alignment with our higher selves. I thank you for this wisdom and clarity that you're about to give us. Welcome in, Renee. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, we've been all going through it, Renee. If you're tearing up, let it out. Let it release. There's reasons for it. Okay? I spent most of the weekend in my emotions, so don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like it's anything negative. Just let it go. Let it release. Let it happen. There's reasons for it. This eclipse is meant to rid out the old to make room for the new. So whatever you're upset about, whatever you're in emotion about, sit with it. Show it compassion. Show it strength. Show it love. Show it respect. Show it transformation, transfiguration. Okay? Because a lot of this is definitely going to help you to alchemize what you're going through, what you're feeling, what you're trying to release. And what you're doing is you're making room by releasing that for the new beautiful energy to come in. Okay? So let it happen. Thank you, dragons, for all the beautiful information that you bring us. Is there any other cards that you'd like me to bring out here? Alright, collective. I'm going to start off with my oracle cards, and then I'm going to go into tarot to clarify a lot of this information. I'm just tapping into the energetic frequencies, because there's a lot of channeled messages coming through as well. Right away, I'm getting a message of transmutation. There's definitely a transformation happening within the ethers. I'm getting a vision of in my mind's eye of the darkness diminishing. I also am picking up on how things energetically are getting brighter. And this has something to do with the Great Awakening. So if you're going through a major transformation, if you're going through a great release where you are in emotion, if you are in anger, if you are in sadness, if you are in happiness or any type of emotion, and it's predominantly getting you to focus on that particular emotion, there's definitely transformation there. It will show up for you in many different ways depending on your situation and what you're dealing with. The dragons are asking you to be strong, and to show compassion to yourself as you go through this transition. This is the Great Awakening that certain people have tried to stall out and delay. But whoever is behind this stalling and delay of this Great Awakening, they are being sat down. They're being told to take notes. They are losing their power. They are losing their reputation. And I'm also seeing name tags being ripped off their chest as if they are losing and they are being demoted. Certain people with certain power, certain leadership, certain thrones that they choose to sit on, they're being dethroned. And they're also letting me know that this is on a world scale. This isn't just in one particular space or one particular place. But these particular people that have had these thrones of power or these particular ideals, specifically the selfish ones, the ones that are thinking of us as useless eaters, they're being dethroned. It's almost kind of giving me a feeling like they are being recalled to be reprogrammed. And I'm also picking up that they're not only being recalled to be reprogrammed, they're being recalled to be re-educated. They tried to gain power in certain places where they had no business trying to gain control. Because they were only thinking in a selfish way, they were only thinking in a way to benefit themselves and not humanity. These people are losing their reputation for their own actions, for what they've done, thinking that they could get away with it. And thinking that they could just sweep their accountability under the rug and not have to be dealing with that. But they're being faced with a choice. They either hold themselves accountable or they will be held accountable. But either way, accountability is on the table here. Some of them are running screaming. They're running in an essence that they don't want to be caught, so they're trying to run away from accountability. And there's a message here to basically state that because of the grief and the loss that they have created for humanity, they have no choice. They can run, but they cannot hide. Because of their actions and because of what they've done regarding humanity, they were given a chance to make things right, but they chose to use their power to bring chaos, to bring an, an unbalanced energy, where they were meant to take this power and use it for good, they're using it for evil. Some of them do not hold humanity in the deepest regard. And quite frankly, they think of us as delinquents. They think of us as useless eaters, wasting resources. And so they choose to create chaos where there should be peace. They come out thinking that we're taking our earthly resources for granted when they're the ones projecting that. They are taking it for granted. They're utilizing the power that they have within their grasp to better life for themselves rather than humanity. And this comes back to the internal healing. This comes back to the ability of utilizing the current resources to better humanity rather than to discredit it and to dismantle it. And this whole idea, order out of chaos, does not work anymore because we are awakening. By bringing chaos to the current status of things is actually preventing the Great Awakening and a great peace to fall upon the earth. It's preventing it now. People are starting to awaken and to dismantle the deception and the lies and the desecration or desecration of the planet. It's a very selfish act to take it upon yourself to deliberately ruin the planet. There's definitely a completion of a cycle happening to the point where there will be a renewal. There will be a splitting. And the old world will be dying away, and we are moving into a new world. We are moving into a new essence. We are moving into a new paradigm of energetic frequency. And those that have not done the work will be left to the old frequency. They will eventually phase out into the nothingness. They will no longer have power over humanity. They will no longer have power. They will have no validity due to the heightened frequency. There is a great enlightenment happening, and we are moving forward. Whether these entities, these particular people that quite frankly I feel are, they're basically possessed with darkness. They're possessed with dark entities because they fail to have compassion for the status quo of humanity. They fail to have compassion for the common peace of the world, of Mother Gaia. And this is the main message of the dragons today. These resources were not to be kept from humanity. These resources were to better the collective, to better our situation, to help us survive, to help us grow, to help us evolve. Certain resources were never supposed to be hoarded. And this includes money. It was supposed to be created to be of a benefit to humanity, not a hindrance. There shouldn't be people walking around in poverty. We should all have the ability to be self-sustained. We should all have the ability to eat. We should all have the ability to drink. We should all have the ability to live within our own means, comfortably. We all should have the ability to save. We should all have the ability to be abundant and prosperous. We should all have the ability to stand in our own right and our own sovereignty upon the planet. We are at the point of the loss and having to deal with the grief of certain resources becoming obsolete. Certain actions that have already been taken by the people in power have devastated these resources, such as drinking water, such as fertile ground. There's already been devastation across the world to the point where now it is crucial as to where we will find the drinking water for the next millennia. It is in question. Moving off into space to another planet is not an option. Once it's done here, there's nowhere else to go. They keep thinking, oh, we'll go to another planet. That's not an option. We've been given this planet within this frequency, within this space and time, to be of a place of resources and sustainability. And to think that they can just jump in a plane or jump in a spaceship and go off to another planet is absolutely ignorant. The divine will not allow that to happen. No matter how much they try, no matter how much money they throw at it, it's not going to work. Life on Mars is not an option. It's one thing to explore the galaxy, but one thing that we need to understand is that we are not the end-all, say-all of the universe. We are not the only planet with life. And to think that we are is extremely ignorant. But to think that we're going to go to another planet, let's say, okay, and try to pull rank is absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. And this is why they are losing their credibility. This is why they are losing their name tags. This is why they are losing their ability to be leaders. This earth can only get so polluted to the point where there's total devastation and annihilation. And when that happens, there's literally nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to go. And with the world currently being at the brink of World War III, we need to very, very much tread carefully. due to current technology that we have in our grasps, we need to act extremely careful. However, we have certain people here upon the earth with extremely huge egos, thinking that they have it all figured out. These people are about to be humbled. Because space is not an option. They think they can just fly away and leave Earth in its devastation. Oh, I'm gonna die soon. I'm not gonna have to worry. And that's how selfish they are. Because clearly they don't give a shit about humanity. These particular people are going to be put in their place very, very soon. It's already started. There are people currently around the world that are taking up what they have to create changes within their countries, within their cities, within their demographics. To bring balance, to bring peace back to their countries. What might look like civil unrest is actually a revolution. And it's to the point now where even young people are being called to stand up and rise and take back their cities, their countries, and take back their sovereignty. And please know that the divine stands with you. You're being called by the divine from within because of the great awakening. You're seeing through the veil. You are seeing through the deception and the lies and the deception, the deceit, the betrayal. So please know that the divine stands with you. And the ancestors are exceptionally proud of you for standing up and making a very, very big ripple within consciousness. Because you are following what the divine is calling you to do. We need to cherish the day. We need to cherish the moment. We need to be grateful. And we need to realign with the people around us instead of being in the divide. There has been a great deception and a great lie to make us feel helpless. And I'm ever so grateful to look in and research to find out that people are finally standing up in their nations, wanting changes, and not letting up until those changes start happening. There are current very, very greedy governments being overthrown and brought out of power. And this is only the beginning. And the nations that think that that's not going to hit here, that, well, we're totally fine, everything is great, they should be worried. They should be shaking in their boots. Because it's not social media that's going to show this information. It is going to be the energy within your heart. These people are not acting because social media is telling them to do that. These people are acting out because their heart is telling them. The divine is working through them to bring about these changes. So to think that these nations are thinking that they're going to stop their people and humanity from rising up, nothing is going to stop this. So leaders of nations, I call upon you now to be humble, to allow the divine to work through you. I ask of you to drop your egos and understand what you're doing to humanity. I mean, are you prepared for your citizens to rise up against you and take you out of power? Or are you willing to work within the divine's collective inspiration and work in alignment with humanity to bring about a peace on the earth? Because don't you have a reputation to uphold? Don't you have a certain ideal to bring peace to your nation instead of chaos? Because as I said in the beginning of this reading, this order out of chaos is not working anymore. It might have worked on a less enlightened populace, but the awakening has already happened. People are just wondering how to alchemize that awakening. They're looking for direction. They're looking for purpose. They're looking to where they fit in the grand scheme of this awakening. And nations are already finding out where they fit, and they are rising above it. They're taking back their sovereignty. They are remembering who they are and why they are here. And I will tell you now, these newer generations are what will take over. These newer generations will survive. More so than you could ever even think. Back in the 16 and 1700s, there's a certain situation that has been erased from mankind's history books. There's a certain demographic and older age that was eradicated from certain nations because of their greed and their selfishness and their entitlement. There were certain nations that had their children become slaves until they rose up and took out the older demographics. There were nations where there were 3-to-1 from kids to adults. And there will be a portion of history that will repeat itself. And it's already showing up in Nepal, where the youth are rising up against their governments and taking back their sovereignty. They are holding accountable those that are doing crimes against humanity. They are holding accountable those of greed and disrespect. Certain people are being brought to justice, and certain judgment is being bestowed upon the populace. because the divine is rising within them. There's no medication, there's no poison, there's no nothing that will stop it. This is my warning. This is the dragon warning. A certain demographic of people have eradicated the dragons off the earth. But if you think for 1 second that the dragon energy does not reside here, it would probably be your biggest mistake. The dragon energy still is prevalent. And the dragon energy is one of the oldest energies to ever be a part of this earth plane. Because of the earth's frequency going into almost the dark times, because of the deception and the eradication of magic, by fear and sadness overtaking the planet, we are coming into the realization that it's a frequency. We are coming to the realization that the more we heal our own trauma, the moment we heal our own sadness and pain, we raise our own frequency, which also helps in the raising of the earth's frequency. And there's even prophecy of dragons being reborn into our lands. There's prophecies about magic coming back online because of our own healing. Why do you think I've been so adamant about each and every one of us on an individual basis healing our traumas and sadness, our anger and frustrations? It's to bring magic back online. It's to bring back the ability to manifest miracles right before our eyes. And we cannot do that unless we work as a collective to make that happen. The end goal is very, very magical. And the moment we start to realize that, the moment everything changes. Dragons will walk the earth again. It's already been a prophecy and it's already being fulfilled. And I know it has something to do with volcanoes. So the fact that there's a lot of volcanoes erupting right now and at the process of erupting, that is one of the signs. That we very much need to pay attention to. Even just the raising of the frequency of Mother Earth changes the frequencies and the pressures of inner Earth. It changes the frequency of these dormant volcanoes. And a lot of you, you're sitting there thinking that this is just hogwash. I don't have time to come on here and channel stupid messages. I don't have time to come on here and throw out a bunch of rubbish into the internet. I would rather be laying out and resting and sleeping and enjoying my day. So if you think what I have to say is bullshit, you can keep scrolling. But we are at a turning point. It could go one way or the other. We could go into an absolute utter chaos, or we can move into peace. These are our options. The more we bring ourselves to peace, the more we bring the world to peace. The more we bring chaos to our situation, the more we will bring the world into chaos. Just as much as we feel that we are helpless as an individual, we are part of the collective energy. We are what makes up of that collective energy across the planet. And if we allow the fear and deception to overtake us and to control us, it will be what it will be. But the moment we call our power back and we decide that we are not going to accept the status quo, and the more we move into peace and our sovereignty, that's when everything changes. We must first do that on an individual basis as well as a collective. The more we do that, the less power these corrupt so-called leaders will have. This is why I've been here. This is why I speak day after day after day after day about healing our own traumas, empowering ourselves, turning our power to pain, from pain to power, allowing that pain to turn into power, rising above it, rising above those challenges. And even Jesus said, love thy neighbor. Bring peace and understanding to the land and watch miracles happen. We can only do that if we all work together. There's no other way. The moment we realize that these so-called leaders are trying to create a divide between us, and the moment we realize that we are all brothers and sisters of the planet, we are all individually and collectively keepers of the earth, the moment we all recognize that we have more power within us than we realize, specifically when we work together, that will be the game changer. To realize that we're not as helpless as we think we are. We're not as powerless as we think we are. We only need to go in and realize that we are our own temple. We are our own universe within a bigger universe, within a bigger universe. Micro, macro. So the more you carry the pain, the more you carry the chaos, the more you carry the anger, the more you carry whatever else, fill in the fucking blanks. The more you carry on that aspect of the negative, the more we will see of that. The more we empower ourselves, the more we love on ourselves, the more we show compassion and healing to ourselves, as well as our collective neighbors. The more we hold ourselves accountable, we are then able to hold those leaders accountable. Because we begin to awaken, we begin to see the truth. We begin to see through the veil of deception. We begin to see the lies. And that in itself is the game changer. That in itself is what is going to bring about the change that we are seeking. It's not going to take a protest. It's going to take a revolution. Are you a part of the resolution and revolution, or are you a part of the resistance? That is your own choice to make. Cycles will be coming to completion. We will be moving forward to protect those resources for humanity. We must not feel guilty for the grief. We must accept the loss for what it is and for the deception that it is. The challenge is taking space for that and holding space for that grief and holding space for the release of that grief. Remembering our true essence and purpose here on earth. To love, to cherish, to evolve into the highest version of ourselves. To where we can wake up and feel grateful and be in the bliss of cherishing each and every day that is before us. It is up to us. So if you're sitting there feeling helpless and worthless, start by healing yourself. Start by empowering yourself. Start by opening up your eyes to the deception and see it for what it is. Take the rose-colored glasses off and see where you're being lied to. Orange gold dragon from Arcturus opens you to knowledge for the new golden age. Carry the energy of the future and be a guiding light. Pure white dragon from the Orion. Transform your ascension knowledge into pure wisdom. Process what you know. Act with truth and honesty, and let your wings of light grow and expand. Blue dragon from the Pleiades prepares you to accept sources of healing from source. Accept a heart activation. Give and receive heart healing. It's not only about receiving heart healing, but it's also giving compassion to others. It's not only about holding that compassion for yourself, but it's sharing that with other people. Magnetic Dragon enables you to bring forward your soul wisdom, awaken your soul memories and higher spiritual understanding, and prepare for accelerated ascension, singularly as an individual as well as a collective. Aquamarine Dragon from the Neptune enables you to access your deepest soul wisdom. Spirituality and wisdom are available to you. So develop your psychic abilities and receive ineffable soul knowledge. The divine will work absolute miracles of clarity in your life once you open your eyes to it and your mind to it. Time is of the essence, collective. And just where you feel helpless and where you don't feel accountable and you don't feel responsible, you're sitting in fear and uncertainty. You need to rid that fear and uncertainty out of your existence by empowering yourself, by rising above it, and knowing that even just you have a place and purpose in this time and space. This is currently why you are here. to help bring about the new earth, to be a witness to that transition. Absolutely every single one of us has a job to do here. And it's your job, individually, to remember. I was recently having a little chat with my roommate, and how we related on the fact that we do not want to be here anymore. We don't want to be here on Earth anymore. And I felt that way for quite some time, because I didn't find where I fit. I didn't find where it seemed like everywhere I was drawn to came up with a no point in moving forward. It seemed like everything I was working on or turning towards, it all fell to shit. And it's because I wasn't aligned to it. It wasn't part of my purpose. It wasn't part of who I was supposed to become. And because of that misalignment, it was due to the deception of what the current matrix that we're a part of wanted me to be. It's time to break out of that matrix. It's time to be honest with yourself. When I finally became honest with myself, and I held myself accountable, I started moving different. I started thinking different. I started focusing on different There's a time and a place for everything, collective. And this is the time and the place to bring about the new earth. If you want to be a part of that, you need to step up. There's places around the world that are already stepping up, and you're sitting here feeling helpless. It's not about the protest. It's about what are you going to do to bring about the new earth? What are you going to do to bring about a peace upon the earth? What are we going to do as a collective to assimilate to this new earth? Because where you think you have no place in this, that's what they want you to feel. They want you to feel helpless. They want you to feel useless, so you just off yourself. Meanwhile, you wouldn't be here in this time and place. The divine would not have chose you to be here at this time and place if you were not having purpose here. You are here to bear witness of this change and this transformation and be part of that transformation. You mean more to Mother Gaia and the consciousness of humanity and the universe than you realize. You may be just a little ripple in the grand scheme of things, but that ripple changes the course of the image. Just you being a little pebble in the lake, that ripple goes farther than what you expect. The impact that you make on an individual basis impacts Mother Gaia in a huge way. And it comes down to your choices, the accountability of your choices. It is ever so crucial, the choices that you make in your everyday, that will determine the course of our future here on Mother Earth. You are needing to lead by example. You need to hold yourself accountable, be responsible for your own actions. People are wondering why the world is so full of chaos, It's because people are set in fear. People are set in the chaos to start with. And that's what they choose to hold on to because that's what they continue to be fed. Consider it this way. You have a whole bunch of people sitting at a table. Some people have steak on their plate. Some people have lobster on their plate. Some people have a piece of bread on their plate. Depending on where you are in the grand scheme of things, everybody's the same. Everybody bleeds the same blood. Everybody bleeds the same way. Starts with the self-worth of your individual purpose. And it takes you as an individual to remember your self-worth. It takes you as an individual to remember where you stand in the grand scheme of life itself. And where you might feel worthless and sitting there with a piece of bread on your plate. You have every reason and rhyme and reason to have that steak or to have that lobster. You have every reason to be bountiful and abundant and prosperous, just as everyone else. But this whole idea that a few people are hoarding all of the wealth across the planet, I tell you right now, that's about to change. It was not ever meant to show up that way. It was never ever meant to be that way. That in itself, to hoard resources, to hoard money, they will be held accountable. They will be brought to judgment. Specifically the ones that think that we're useless eaters. How do you expect people to be useful when you give them nothing to be useful with? When you give them nothing to work with? How do you expect a painter to paint without paintbrushes and paint? How do you expect to compare a fish to a bird as to how they can either alternatively swim or fly? You can't compare a bird to a fish as to fly across the world. Because the fish won't make it. Just as to compare a bird to a fish, to how deep a fish could swim into the depths of the ocean. Now, mind you, the loon, the penguin, among others, they are still considered birds. And they are definitely good swimmers. But that compared to an eagle or a hawk, you'd very much have a better comparison with a loon and a penguin rather than a hawk or a raven, for that matter, to swim in the ocean. Certain people have certain purpose. Certain people have certain gifts. And it's the remembering of our own individual possibilities that bring out the self-worth. To remember is to find out where we fit in the grand scheme of things. No one can figure out that but you, as an individual. And the moment we go within and we remember, which that is our first task, is to remember. How can we remember if we are riddled with fear and pain? How can we remember if we're constantly dealing with chaos and in survival mode, where we can't sit long enough to collaborate or assimilate? If we're totally riddled with fear, how are we supposed to find any peace? How are we to be useful? How are we to paint our perfect canvas when we have no paintbrushes to work with? How are we to paint that canvas without any paint? How are we supposed to paint that canvas without a canvas? And this brings us back to the abundance, the ability to be abundant, the ability to have purpose and have the sovereignty and the right to have that purpose as an individual as well as a collective. If we did not have so much deception and so many lies, if we did not have this veil of deception and uh, illusion placed over the populace, and we were able to step into our own energy, to step into our own purpose, to step into our own ability to be our most highest version of ourselves, we wouldn't be considered useless eaters if we actually had the chance to step into the very person that we were always meant to be. But how are we to do that if we are bombarded by illusion? How are we to do that without the truth? How are we to do that without the ability to step into the very essence of who we are? To be able to have the space and the time and the knowledge and wisdom to step into the best version of ourselves. We are at the precipice of change. We are at the precipice of awakening, collective. And it's going to happen whether they like it or not. It's going to happen whether I'm here, sitting here, letting you in on this. They cannot run. They cannot hide. What is and what will become our reality. But it is up to us on an individual basis as well as a collective to make that happen. So this is why I say, take the time out to heal. Take the time out to empower yourself. Turn your pain into power, so that way you can rise up into your purpose of what you are being called to from the divine that is within you, that divine light that is within you. The divine gives you life, not your parents. You chose to be here in this time and era. You chose to be here of witness, to be a witness to this time in transition. So take out the time to remember. Take out the time to evolve and eradicate the deception and the fear and the lies that you've been told about who you should be, and step into the energy of who you are meant to be, through your soul, through your heart, and through your mind, coming into balance. This happens and this helps when you align your chakras from your feet to your head and beyond. Releasing the pain and empowering yourself to rise above that. This is one of the many things that Jesus spoke of on his journey through his life. And this is why he gained so much traction, because he was a mystic. He allowed the divine light to guide him. And they took his story, they took his message, and made it into a deception to create slaves upon the earth, to gain control of the true knowledge of why we are here, and keep it hidden. It's time we all wake up and recognize and realize our fullest potential. It's time to remove the division and to start to love our neighbors. Because together we will change the earth, whether they like it or not. We will rise above this and bring peace to Mother Earth, the way it was always supposed to be. We were not brought here to suffer, collective. Heaven can be here on earth. Just as well, so can hell. But that choice, it starts with us, individually and collectively. Great dragons of the north, south, east, and west. What other messages do we have for my collective? Throwing away betrayal. Reconciling our differences. Bringing peace to the earth. Acknowledging the betrayal for what it is and where it came from. And bringing a death to it. Bringing a death and a transformation to that what no longer serves us. To heal the earth, to see the illusion, to recognize the emotions, to bring about reality and manifestation. Recognizing the illusion for what it is. That illusion is to bring us instability, to keep us from grounding, to keep us from becoming our best versions of ourselves, to keep us dependent and broken. To bring an end to the deception and the lies. And to remember that there's always room for rebirth. There's always room for abundance. There's always room for a new frequency. We have the ability to birth a new planet of sustainability. But we need to work together as nations to do that. We cannot do it divided. It wasn't supposed to work like that. We are the children of the earth. no matter what age we are. We are the keepers, we are the watchers, we are the caretakers, we are the protectors, we are the warriors, we are the healers, we are the seers, we are the transmuters. We all have a rhyme and reason to be here. But it is up to you to find out where you fit. We will get the upper hand once we recognize the betrayal, and once we start recognizing and reconciling that betrayal. We will get the upper hand. Haven't we been through enough, collective? Haven't we suffered enough? Don't we deserve that? At least that? Don't we deserve peace on earth? Don't we deserve to be abundant and prosperous? It's not a case of immigration and the case of walking away from our homelands. It's a case that we're not supposed to walk away. We need to stand up and take back our nations. We can walk away to a different portion of the earth, totally deplete it, and then keep walking away to another portion of the earth and deplete it, and walk away and walk to another portion of the earth and deplete it. Or we can stay right where the fuck we are and make the best of it and replenish those resources and find ways to be in gratitude and to be let's put it this way. Instead of getting rid of our forests, our ancient forests that give us oxygen, we need to be building up the forest. We need to be in support of the forest. We need to be in honor of those forests and the magic that they hold. The tree of life was chopped down. Because of greed and selfishness. Think of the devastation. The Five of Swords. To cast away the illusions, to recognize the emotions of the instability, and to reconcile the lies and the deception of these illusions. This is something that we have to face as a collective. This is something that we cannot walk away from. This is something we have no choice in. So this whole idea of immigrating to another part of the planet should not be an option. Yes, travel to visit, to learn different cultures, yes. But go back home. Go back home to where you reside. Go take up space. Go live in sovereignty in your homeland where you deserve to be, where you deserve to thrive. You shouldn't have to worry about fighting for your life collective. This is about equal reciprocation to bring about a stability outside of the destabilizing of having to be codependent or dependent. This is about an equal reciprocation. This is about manifesting our best life by working together, by putting an end to the deception and the lies. That what goes around will come around eventually. That what goes up must come down. All of our actions receive a reaction, no matter what they are. And it is our own accountability that we must have in order to better the planet. I'm only one person, Aiden. What can I do? Start acting differently. Start by focusing on yourself. Start by alchemizing the pain and the suffering that you've already endured within you. Empower yourself above it. Stop allowing the distractions. Don't allow the chaos and the fear to overwhelm you. And stand on business in your own nation. You shouldn't have to get up and flee away to another nation in order to find peace. You should have every right to be within your own nation and be at peace. I'm all for multiculturalism. I'm all for going and traveling and seeing different points of view from different cultures and different parts of the earth. I'm all for it. But to have to flee my home country to go live somewhere else because I'm no longer accepted for who I am, there's something wrong with that. It's about coming back into balance with ourself, with our internal self and our outer self, with ourself and our higher self, our masculine side and our feminine side, within self. We all have the ability to provide. We all have the ability to nurture. We all have the ability to love. And we all have the ability to show compassion and protect and to provide. That relationship that we have with ourselves will better the relationships that we have with others. To stand on business and not allow other people to disenfranchise us, to take us out of our element of who we're meant to be, recognizing that we are all perfectly imperfect, just as we are. And to remove the ego and the jealousy and the envy. The ability to be self-aware, the ability to step into the most highest version of ourself and then have somebody else be envious of that. These people of envy need to work on themselves. These people of envy need to heal their pain and their suffering, so that way themselves can do the same. There would be no room for envy. There would be no room for jealousy. There would be no stupid, crazy talk of destiny swapping. Thinking that they're just going to go and steal somebody else's destiny. Steal somebody else's life. Because, oh, somebody else's life looks better than mine. Meanwhile, they don't even have the self-worth to go get it themselves. Typical karmic chicken. They want to hate on everybody else's success rather than go and get it themselves. It's part of the reason why they don't have it in the first place. These people need to give their fucking heads a shake. Everybody has the right, everybody has the ability to go get that themselves. It's whether or not you have enough self-worth within yourself to do that. And whether or not you have enough kahunas to go out and get it. And to step into that higher version of yourself. It starts with inner healing. It's about treating yourself as an inner temple. We can't walk away from this without a reconciliation. And because we choose to try to walk away, that is what brings the imbalance within the relationships of Mother Earth. That is why we are being at odds with each other and are at odds with different nations. Because we're always trying to be in competition. Who's the better person? Who's the better nation? Who's the better this? Who's the better that? It shouldn't be about that. How can I be better than the version of myself that I was yesterday? How can I evolve into the best version of myself? What do I need to work on an individual basis to bring about that better version? Instead of trying to steal it from someone else. The imbalance and the deception is what's bringing us to chaos. It's the overthinking of whether or not we want to take this leap of faith into this new paradigm. Whether or not we want to leave the past behind us. Whether or not we want to allow our intuitions and our soul and our divine essence of who we are individually to guide us. It's to not overthink and to move into the alignment of our best version of ourself in order to accumulate that blessing. It starts with healing, collective. That is where we will find our balance. Then and only then. To question that way forward is to not nurture our best version of ourselves. To choose not to is to be selfish and envious of other people's healing. And in doing so, all you're doing is bringing instability. All you're doing is bringing about chaos by not being accountable for your own actions. For the chaos that you bring to the rest of the world, thinking that you know better. Thinking that you're more entitled than everybody else. As a nation, it's very egotistical. It's very distasteful, thinking you're a better nation than anyone else. And outright, quite possibly, you know, you're embarrassing yourself. It's quite disgusting to think that you're a better nation than anyone else's nation. And yet you sit there and look and point and gawk and complain. Meanwhile, you don't do anything within your own nation to make things better. You go run away to other nations to find peace rather than trying to fight for peace in your own. It's absolute cowardice. It's about finding strength. It's about knowing where you stand. It's about recognizing the warrior within you and that you have more power than you realize to manifest the best life you've ever could imagine. And I'm being told by Spirit, think big, go big or go home. By re-alchemizing the masculine and feminine aspects of each individual, and to bring about a accumulation of balance from the chaos. Once we start doing that on an individual basis, as a collective, it will happen simultaneously. Not only will the frequency raise as a collective, you will see miracles start to happen before our eyes. Nations will start supporting other nations, and we will see peace. I have no doubt in my soul. But how can we move in that direction if everybody's sitting around in fear and pain and suffering, feeling useless? There's enough people on the planet to help that happen, to bring us to peace. There's enough people here on planet Earth, if we were to all work together, there would be no excuses but to bring the world to peace. To bring the world out of homelessness and famine and disease. But no, we've got a bunch of mad scientists trying to make depopulation a thing on the planet. Where 100,000 people might lose their life because they chose to trust their so-called conglomerate medical system. What was meant to be of good intention turns out to be mass depopulation and a disintegration of our immune systems. I'm all for science, I'm all for health, but these mad scientists need to be brought to judgment for crimes against humanity. And it's happening. It's in the works. They cannot run, they cannot hide. They can try to make a spaceship, but they're not going to get it off the ground. By bringing a deception and an overthinking to our divine essence within our soul, within our heart, to bring us to a selfishness, to bring us to an unbalanced energy. All that will do is trap us. All that will do will keep us from this divine awakening. If we are selfish, we will not see peace. By being selfish and thinking of yourself, you will not see peace. These money-hungry hippos that are hoarding all the money and not helping the nations, you will not see peace. The amount of homelessness right now, the employment, the unemployment is skyrocketing. And it's all due to selfishness and greed that it's happening. We know the truth already that's within us. And a lot of us, we just don't know what to do. I will tell you this, that once you start to heal, and once you go within to heal that trauma and the pain, and you empower yourself through it, and you release that pain, you learn what you need to learn from each and every lesson that you've had to deal with and that you've had to overcome, we start to gain the wisdom that we need to move forward. We eventually see that through the transformation that we go through, recognizing the lesson to receive the blessing. If we constantly throw all this pain and suffering under the rug and we just continue to move forward, now we have that drag behind us, slowing us down. But the moment we stop, the moment we go within and we remove the rug and we sit with the shit we have carrying with us in order to release it, the lighter we get, the less drag that we have. The more wisdom we gain from that lesson, and we assimilate and we start acting with that lesson and with that wisdom, it's not about learning the lesson, it's about applying it to your existence, applying it to your life. That's where the magic happens. Because not only are you removing the drag from that, you're leading by example. And it requires that for other people to see the truth, to awaken. And we are all here on different levels and different intervals of this lesson and at different intervals of this frequency. And we learn more by observation. So the more you follow the calling within your soul, within your heart, the more things will start to elevate. And this is peaceful situations. This isn't taking a gun and going shooting up a school like a fucking idiot. Or sticking a bomb to your chest and going blowing up a building. You are not called to eradicate life on the planet. If that's the case, you are in essence accompanying a demon within you. And you need to be exorcised. If your God tells you that you need to go kill somebody because of the truth that they speak, you're disgusting. And I don't give a fuck what your name is. Or where you come from. It is not your job to take the life of another person. That is the divine and the reaper alone. The divine chooses to whether or not you are alive or dead. The divine chooses as to what your purpose is. because you agreed to the contract before you came into this planet. You need to remember that contract. You need to remember why you've come here. You need to remember what the whole situation is behind the purpose as to why you're here. Coming to the planet, you are bestowed upon a great forgetting. And this forgetting is part of the journey of remembering. To come a full revolution of your life. To take the wisdom that is bestowed upon you and to learn the lesson to receive the blessing. That is everyone's purpose here. Your underlying foundation of purpose is to remember who the fuck you are and why you have come here. And each journey is different. But one thing is for sure, it is not to eradicate the race of humans on the planet. You are not here to bestow population control onto the planet. You are not here to eradicate human beings from the planet. That is not your job. If that's what you think, you are riddled with demons. It's going to become evident what our commitments are. It's going to become very evident very, very quickly within the sadness of the disconnection from certain demographic religious sectors. Certain religions will be eradicated off the planet for good reason. For they do not serve the populace. They do not serve humanity. And quite frankly, they're disgusting. They do not bring balance to Mother Earth or its inhabitants. By not making this commitment, will keep us in this revolving cycle of detriment and chaos. The more we choose not to do a damn thing about it, the more we will be brought into this chaos. So where you feel that you are not useful, where you feel like a useless eater, like they want you to be, you have a lot of soul searching to do. This is not a time and a place to just accept the status quo of the Matrix. Because this Matrix was to have us dumbed down to keep us from our full potential. And the moment you realize that is the moment you open your brain to the possibilities that you were here for more. And the divine will guide you into what that more is. But you need to open up your mind to the possibilities first. And that is only your choice. Many are called, but few have ever chosen to stand in the validity of their heart and their soul and their sovereignty. Because they're so riddled with fear and pain and worthlessness that they never get a chance to become their fullest version of themselves. And it's because of the toxicity and the darkness that roams this planet that keeps them in that paradigm. But the moment you say no more, the moment you stand, the moment you actually stand for something, the moment you stand up and you start leading by example, that's when things change. As an individual, how many individuals does it take to change a light bulb? Only one with actual common fucking sense. It's about moving forward with compassion for your common man and woman, whether they're a man or a woman. It's about moving forward with compassion. Standing on business for sovereignty, standing on business for equality. Calling our power back. Recognizing that we are here for something better, something more. Allowing the divine to guide us through that. Allowing the magic and the miracle to happen. Allowing the divine to work through us to be that miracle. It's the only way it's the only way we're moving forward. And quite frankly, it is the only way that we will survive. Mother Earth will be here long after we're gone. Whether or not she will be sitting in devastation or not is the question. That in itself will determine our rise or our demise. The universes weren't created to be annihilated. The universe and the planets and the solar systems were created to bring about experience and knowledge and wisdom and be able to know what love feels like, to be able to know what sadness feels like. But it was never meant to be turned into this, into utter chaos. That was not the point of our overall consciousness and the ability to become the universe and to become our solar system to be what it is today. To be ignorant enough to think that we are the only planet is stupid. But to think that we're going to go off on a spaceship to go find out where another place to live and to go be there instead, do you honestly think they're going to welcome us? Once they find out that we've annihilated our home planet, do you honestly think that we're going to stay? Do you honestly think they're going to welcome us to this new planet? You got to be out of your fucking mind. Once they find out that you eradicated your previous planet, they're going to eradicate you because they don't want nothing to do with you. And all that work of creating your dumbass spaceship to go somewhere else? You got to be a new form of insane. to think that you're going to build a fucking spaceship and go somewhere else to save yourself and to save the human race. The Earth is in the Goldilocks space within our solar system. The Earth within this solar system is the best planet to live on. So thinking that you're going to go to Mars or Venus or wherever else is absolute asinine. We've sent rockets to space. We've sent all of this other stuff to space. Meanwhile, we haven't been off the fucking planet. Not once. And I don't give a shit what Hollywood has to say, what Hollywood's done to say that we went to the moon, and all this shit. It's all a farce. And that's disclosure that's going to be coming out. It's already out, really. You just haven't looked hard enough. But the moment you realize we've been lied to all our life, and that it was all just to be getting us inspired to believe in a lie, a lot of you are going to be heartbroken. A lot of you are going to have to deal with a lot of sadness to think that a lot of the shit that we've been dealing with, that we've been focusing on, is nothing but a distraction. The moment we start focusing on what we need to focus on and what is of most priority, you're going to find out that it is the healing that we need most priority in. And the healing of the pain and the sadness within us due to the deception and the betrayal that we've already experienced. To empower ourselves above it and to reconcile that across the planet. That is what is needed to bring peace on Earth. Because without that, we will face annihilation. And the thing is, that's really sad, we're only doing it to ourselves by allowing it to just happen. We're only doing it to ourselves. So yeah, time is of the essence. And we have a doorway of time where we can change this and make it better. But it starts with your inner healing and empowerment to rise above it. Without that, we're walking into chaos. It's up to you, collective. You're wondering whether or not you're chosen. It's your choice. It's always been your choice to be part of the 144 frequency. It's not 144,000 people that are going to take over the earth. It's 144 frequency. Stepping into your divinity. Are you making the choice? Or are you going to be eradicated like the useless eater they wanted to call you? Are you going to help take back Mother Earth and bring back our earthly sovereignty? Or are you going to be part of the problem? That's ultimately up to you.